Alright, I got a 2014 Super Duty here, and we're going to install the Ford accessories tonneau cover on it. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so I opened up the box. There's not much in it. You'll basically get the trifold cover if you get this model, and then you get a small bag of hardware over here. And then as far as the directions go, those are your standard scan the QR code, which I will do, and then we'll figure out how to get this installed. Alright, so the first step in the instructions is to make sure that the tailgate is not higher than flush. And you can see here I've got my level. Now obviously the street is not level, so the level is not there, but you can see very clearly. They do it on an angle, but if I also bring it in here, I'm just trying to view, you can see that the tailgate is absolutely not higher than flush, so we should be good to go. I've got a small gap everywhere. According to the directions, if it is higher than flush, then it needs to go back to the dealer and they can adjust it for you. So in my case, there's nothing to be done here, so I'm going to move on to the next step, which is getting the mounting hardware on. So this truck is a Super Duty with a 6.5 foot bed. According to the instructions, it's a 6 3/4 foot bed, but in this case, I'm measuring. They give you the measurement in millimeters, so it's 1,680 millimeters. So if you convert that, because I don't have a metric measuring tape, if you convert that to inches, that's 66 inches, and then you're looking at like 1.4, which, you know, I approximate to be 66 inches and 3/16. I'm sure there's more variance than that this will allow for than that, but that's what I'm working off of. And if you come to the end of the bed, you take the measurement, so you close the bed and then have someone hold the measuring tape. You'll measure from here, come all the way down to the back, and then I just used blue painter's tape to mark it, and I did that on both sides of the truck. So now we can go ahead and put the clamps on, and I'll show you how that goes. Okay, so these are the clamps. Now what happens is there's this plastic guard, so you can see that goes over the actual metal truck bed. What you're absolutely not supposed to do, according to the instructions, is put this clamp over the plastic part and clamp it down. That will, I'm assuming, over time cause this plastic bed cap to crack. So what you got to do, and I may not be able to do this perfectly on camera, is you have to pull back this plastic, and then you have to slide this underneath. So I'm going to do that with two hands, and I'll show you the end result. Okay, so this is the proper way to insert it. I separated the plastic from the metal bed. I slid this underneath, and I've got it lined up at 66 inches and 3/16. And then the last part, which is pretty easy, to give you the Allen wrench. Just need to tighten these down. And so I won't bore you with that. I'll do this off camera, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so the last part of it is, you can probably just do this by feel, but I'll follow the directions precisely for this video. So torque wrench, 62 foot inches, not foot pounds, foot inches. And so we'll go ahead and torque these bolts down. To be clear, as long as they're on there and don't slide off, the pressure is going to be upward against the lip of the truck bed. So, you know, you've got opposing forces there, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. What you don't want these to do is come loose and then fall off. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and torque those down off camera, and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is measure from the end of the bed again, and then I marked it blue tape about basically 9 inches. It's the millimeters are 230 millimeters, which approximately translates to 9.05 inches. So I think 9, if you want to go to 9 and 1/16 or 1/16, go for it. But otherwise, basically, you're taking these pieces, and just like we did before, these pieces will go underneath this little plastic lip here, starting at where, in my case, where my blue tape is. Slide them in on both sides, and then that'll do it. And so all the parts you needed for this were in that bag. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera so you have two hands, and then I'll show you the next steps. Alright, so I've got the rubber pieces under. I did try and put them over. I think under is the way to do it, but you know, based on the diagram, it actually shows a piece of metal protruding here. That piece of metal does not exist in the reality of this, so we'll just go ahead and go with that. So you can see it's under. You might be able to get it over, and it might be fine too. But I'm just going to go with this. So the pressure, because I think the smart move is the upward pressure is now going to be all on the metal and not on this plastic, which I think is probably a really good thing. Okay, so the next step is simple. Just get the tonneau cover set evenly as best you can. I just set on top of the truck now, and then we're going to get underneath and we're going to start affixing things. Obviously this is meant to come off, meaning that it doesn't, you know, they warn you when you buy this to be very careful to get it on straight, but the reality is if you're going to take it on and off, it's not going to stay perfectly straight and you're not going to take all that time, but nonetheless, got it on, just kind of did a quick little measurement, made sure everything was about square, and now we're going to go ahead and fix the clamps. Okay, so now lying down in the truck bed, and you can see here this is the thing that needs to match to that. I need to adjust my cover just a little bit, but basically you pop this little piece out, this will drop out, this will slide forward, and you can get the handle out, and now that's going to clamp in there. And then I would just say, since this is going to be here for a minute, just put that back in. And then basically now I'm going to either have to move this, but I think the tonneau cover just isn't far enough back. But either way, I'll make the adjustments here and then I'll show you what I got. Okay, so yeah, somehow I just maybe filming, wasn't paying attention. So I got this side was spot on, measurements were perfect. Other side I was just off when I remeasured, so I just readjusted, but this side was perfect. So I've got basically this, as aforementioned, swings down. It clipped, you know, there's one side that won't fit because they have this plastic gusset here. The other side will clip around. You just pull it down, make sure these are about even, and then you just tighten this till it's firm. This cover isn't coming up now, and now basically the next step is we're just going to fold out the bed and attach the other parts of it. Okay, so at the last part here, we need to put these kind of tail clamps in, and so these are obviously made to make it so you can get off the tonneau cover quickly. So first thing you're going to do is take out this little plastic part again. It's going to just drop out, and then, I'm sorry, it's really hard to get the angle in the sun here. All right, so then this is going to drop down, pull out, and then you're going to move it in. And then I might need my other hand, but basically this moves into position and it just drops on like this. If you need to apply some extra force, and then I'll do it with two hands. I want to get this square, but that's basically it. And then this is meant so that when you want to take this off, you just pull on this and it comes down. So it's kind of a nice little setup. I think I got it straight there. And then that's basically the end of the install. So I hope this video helped you. Definitely some parts of these instructions that could have been way clearer, but that's how you install the Ford Accessories tonneau cover in a 2024 F-250.